At the same time, inside the hut, Uriah asked Dallas, "Why is it getting bigger?" He said he keep thinking about what happened yesterday. "It's been like that since morning." Urim replied that she was out of her mind yesterday, but if he stay like that, it will be painful. She tells him to take his pants off so she can help him with it. She hold it in her hands and wondered, how is it so hard and hot? She then used her mouth to help him relax and Dallas starts to enjoy it. The girl then arrived at the barn and start looking for dolls. And then she finds Dallas in one of the huts. She wondered why his pants down and his breathing is also heavy, but she hurried back, thinking she will just tell the lady that she found him. Suddenly, Urim shouts as Dallas came on her. He quickly apologized to her, saying he just could not hold it. Urim wondered why her head is getting dizzy. Also, her stomach starts burning up just by the smell. She said someone will catch them if they stay any longer, and tried to leave as she was going back. Dallas held her hand from behind and asked her to not go. Meanwhile, the little girl informed So that she found Dallas in the back barn. She explained that brother Dallas was acting weird, as he didn't have pants on and his breathing was heavy. So he thought that Dallas is doing that thing again and thanked the little girl for informing her back at Dallas. He turned Urim and lifts her skirt. She was telling him to go some other place as if someone comes, but before she could even finish, she shouted as Dallas puts his rod inside. He thought it's different from what it was yesterday, as it's now more gentle than before, so he was going to the back barn, while thinking that he did it yesterday and now he is doing it again, which means he is thinking about having sex with her every day. Urim was thinking that they had a good time yesterday, so why is he so full of energy today? She wanted to stop Dallas, but she likes it so much that she couldn't. So he was outside the door thinking if she enters suddenly and find him doing that, then he would get flustered, so she should yell out his name first. But then she remembered the scene from before and thought she wants to see it again. Dallas then noticed someone trying to open the door, so he quickly hid Urim, so he opened the door and find him half naked and quickly turned her face away. Dallas noticed that Urim's face was visible, so he used his back to hide her, so he looked at his Excalibur and couldn't believe her eyes. She then slowly starts walking towards him and sits down. She thought if she touched it, then Dallas would like it. But then she regained control and put back his pants. She called herself stupid, as they were the only ones there, but she still couldn't do it. She then asked him what she told him yesterday. He didn't tell anyone about it, right? Dolls refused. And so he said that they should do it during the night when everyone is sleeping. She said she will tell him the date at a later time and left. After she left, Urim came out of hiding and Dallas apologized to her for earlier. She then asked Dallas what they were talking about and what he is going to do with Lady. So he at night. Dallas nervously replied that he can't tell her since Lady, so he asked him to keep it a secret. But he assured her that it's nothing weird because the lady isn't like that. Angered Urim tells him to leave after Dallas left. Urim thought that is the daughter of a general. She can marry high-status man. So why a servant and why does it have to be Dallas? Meanwhile, Hyung was going somewhere with the head servant, so he asked, where are they going? The head servant then tells him a story about a man who used to move people across the river. He didn't work in the rain, but a high-status noble need to move across the river. So he offered him double the pay he needed to risk his life, because the noble needed to attend the celebration. But the man was washed away and didn't even live to see his daughter being born. So they are going to meet that widow and her daughter. After traveling for a while, they arrived at their destination. A lady came and gets happy after seeing the head servant. She grabbed him and said the heat is too much today, so they should head inside. Hyung looked at them with confusion because he never thought that Hano has it this good outside. They both then enjoyed the lunch. And while the lady was serving drinks, Hano grabbed her butt and pulled her down. Hano gave a mantle to him and tells him to write it down and put it in the carriage. Hyung said that there should be 2 mantles, so why there is only one? Hano said young people these days are so cold-hearted, as it must be difficult to be a widow and live alone in the middle of nowhere. So they need to be kind. Hyung looked at him with disgust because he remembered the incident when Hano pulled out a knife on an old man who was in his 70s. Hano then tells him to go and get some fresh air, while he will talk with the lady after a while. Hyung was thinking that one doesn't have to be a nobleman. Even just a Hano is enough for riches. He was hearing the woman's moaning from the inside. He thought the widow has an amazing body, and her face was also pretty, so he decides to take a look. He looked from the hole on the door and realized Wiono grabbed her as soon as they arrived, and while he was in deep thought, he gets startled after seeing a girl alongside him. Hyung shockingly asked the girl, "Who is she?" The girl introduced herself as Yun, the widow's daughter. Yun's story then gets revealed. She loved a boy named Palpoon, who promised to make her the happiest woman, but before their love could grow deeper, her mother beat Papillon and sent him running. Yun cried and asked, "Why is she like this?" "Because Palpun is a great man." Her mother replied that her father was also a great man, but good guys are good for nothing, so she need to find a smart one. And every time her mother learned that she liked a guy, she chased him off. But on a day when she had already lost all hope of getting married, destiny showed her the way the first man arrived that her mother would approve of. Her mother explained that Hano is planning to train him to be the next head. It's hard to find a noble man being just a concubine. She tells her to seduce Hyung today and make sure he gets smitten by her. Yun was hesitant, but her mother scolded her, saying she has been flirting with less important guys, so do everything she can, whether it's raising her skirt or to cling on like a leech. Scared Yun agreed and said she will try her best back at present. She intentionally showed her legs to Hyan so he can be seduced. Yun thought that Getchel and Palpoon weren't this handsome. So what is she supposed to do in front of this handsome man? She tells him that once her mom and Hano start, they take a long time and as it's hot outside, so she invited him to go inside her room. Meanwhile, her mother looked at the hole and thought he must be pretty horny after spying on her. And while her mother was getting spanked by Hano, Yun was with Young inside her room. Hyung wondered why is she staring at him. She saw him cleaning his ear, so she tells him to lay his head on her thighs as she will clean it for him. Hyung lay down and wondered if this is how men and women behave when they live in mountains. And then a thought crossed his mind that maybe this girl is trying to seduce him. He decides to check it and slowly put his hand on her thighs. Yun stopped him and asked, "What is he doing?" Hyung quickly gets up and apologized, saying his hand slipped down when he got distracted. He wondered if he was mistaken in judging her, but then Yun asked him if he wants to touch her body and lift her skirt. Hyung nervously replied, of course he wants to touch her. After all, he is a man. She asked him in a low voice if he will take responsibility for her. Hyung replied without thinking that of course he will, and move his hands towards her. He was trembling, as this was the first time a girl allowed him to touch her body. He grabbed her melons and thought they are as soft as tender rice cake. He moved his hands inside her underwear and starts pressing and rubbing intensely. Yun was begging him to go a little slowly, but then Hyung pushed her down. He removed her top and was about to proceed, but Yun said they can't do it yet. But if he marries her, then she will give it to him. On the first night, Hyung said okay to it and apologized for getting carried away. After some time, they were ready to leave, and Yun tells him that she will be waiting for him on the way. Hano asked him if he liked that girl because she was gazing upon him full of love. But Hyun replied that he only liked Ariam. He then asked Hano if he should talk about his marriage to the lady. Hano agreed as the servants are married. Off to whom? The madam decides, so he will have to wait on He's approval. First for relationship proposal with Ariam. Hano asked him will he be able to conquer Yor with his old-fashioned mentality. Hyung replied on their first night he will simply just show her what is it to be a real man, and she will become obedient after they have done it. In the evening, Hyung was thinking, if something happened between Dallas and Uranium, he then saw Uranium coming with some watermelons. So he asked her if they are for dolls. She angrily said dolls has nothing to do with cutting watermelon. She said he must be exhausted after all the walking, so she bring it for him. Hyung started crying after seeing her love, and then he hugged her inside her skirt, saying he is the only person who cares about her. But Uriam angrily chased him away and called him a pervert. Meanwhile, Dallas was thinking about how he can clear up the misunderstanding with Uriam. He was so happy doing at the barn, but now his Excalibur is not going down. He thought now his only option is to comment with his own hands. At the same time, so he was thinking about how Dallas was doing it in a secluded place. She understands how hard it is for him to do it. While hiding, she thought if Dallas didn't like her, then she would have met a proper suitor and gotten married already. She said, he is still alone, and in a way it's all her fault. She wanted to help him somehow and then thought of an idea. She went outside and tells the same girl from before to find Dolls for her. Dolls was inside the barn doing his stuff, thinking no one will come to this cold barn, so he should be safe. He was imagining so he while stroking hard, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell icon so you don't miss the updates.